Better alternatives to reparations that actually work. Welcome again to Spin Cycle America, where we talk about what is happening in the world today. We just have a conversation about the facts, hitting both sides of the aisle. I'm your host, Todd. Today we are going to continue on my weekly special about reparations. But here's an idea that I think might work. Hey, everybody, once again, welcome to day 4 of our week-long series on reparations. So far, we've covered why race-based payments are unfair due to post-slavery immigration and Civil War sacrifices, the massive practical and financial problems, and did why they'd likely be unconstitutional under 14th Amendment. So today we're shifting to a solution. So my deal is here. Wherever there's a problem, everyone on both sides of the aisle needs to come together and come up with concerns on a solution. Because if you look at it, every time one side has a problem, they never come up with a solution. They can come up with problems and they can point the finger at each other, but they never come up with a solution. Why? I haven't a clue. They'll point the finger at the other side will point a finger back at them, and there's never a solution. But if you look at it, when you're pointing that finger, there's still 3 fingers pointing back at you. So you better come up with a solution. If you're going to point fingers, you better come up with something. And sit there and accusing and threatening people is not the solution. So hence is the reason why we never have just a conversation, is because everybody's pointing fingers and not coming up with a solution. Instead of $1 trillion racial wealth transfer that divides us, what, what policies could actually close gaps and help people thrive. So here's some policies that could help us out. So the evidence points to focusing on individuals, not groups. Things like better education. Well, there's a novel idea. How about stronger family, safer communities? We've been trying to do that for the last 4 or 5 years. Well, at least the last 2 years, I should say. An economic opportunity for everyone. Wow, there's a novel idea. What a concept, huh? We have too many people yelling foul, people not wanting to put forward or put forth the work. In other words, they don't want to put work into it. They just want to have everything given to them. Gimme, 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 gimme. I deserve that. No, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve anything in this world. You have to work for it. It's like a football team. If you are willing to put in the work, then you will get something out of it. But if you're not willing to put in the work, then go sit in a corner. Quit trying to get something for nothing. You need to put in the work for it. Why do you think people don't care about anything they damage? Because it's not their property. So why should they care for it? If it's not their property, or if they're not putting any skin into the game, they're not going to care for it. That's why you have all that issue and those problems that you see on X and Facebook and every place else, with everybody fighting for it. Why reparations missed the mark? Since the 1960s, the U.S. has spent trillions on anti-poverty and social programs aimed at helping Black Americans. Despite good intentions, progress on key metrics like family stability and certain poverty rates has stalled or reversed in many cases. So this is due to a lack of motivation, people not wanting to work. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. If you don't have no skin in the game, you're not going to do anything. If it's not yours, you're not going to do it. If you don't own it, you're not going to put anything or put forth anything to it. This current generation, the Generation Alpha, born and raised on TikTok and smartphones, see and want everything handed to them. Most are lacking that motivation. Why should they put forth anything if they don't have any skin in the game. Reparations would be another massive top down transfer, but data shows distant historical events explain less of today's outcomes than recent factors like education, family structure, and culture. Real progress comes from universal policies that reward positive behaviors and removes barriers for individuals. This means everybody needs to put something forward. They need to work for it. You can't expect something for nothing. Stop it. Education. School choice is a game changer. Can you imagine nowadays with people being able to choose what school they go to? Can you imagine how that's going to improve education? Schools losing funding because they don't have nobody going to their school because somebody else is going to another school because it's better, because they get to choose what school they want to go to. Education is one of the strongest drivers of success. Yet many public schools in urban areas which serve large numbers of black students are failing. This is a problem. This is why we have this big problem issues. Why people, blacks, are demanding and yelling reparations because they want something for nothing. They, I'm sorry, but it's not there. If you look at it, Amendment 14 says no. School choice, vouchers, charter schools, education, savings accounts lets parents pick the best schools for their child. Study from places like Florida, Milwaukee, and Washington, D.C. show significant gains, especially for low income minority students. What a deal. For example, black students in choice programs often outperform their peers in traditional public schools by large margins in reading and math. Wow, there's a novel idea. Why don't we start doing that? Expanding national choice nationwide could give every family real opportunity instead of trapping kids in failing schools. This helps everyone. No racial targeting needed. This is something you need to see on the, or that you see every day on the news. Always or almost daily, how our school system are failing our children. This is disgusting. This is terrible. You see some teachers that are going overboard and not teaching what needs to be taught in these schools, and that's why these school systems are failing. The school board and the school districts need to crack down. School choice has expanded rapidly since 2021, especially universal ESA style programs, but it's overwhelmingly advanced in Republican led states. Democratic strongholds have been much slower or resistant to private school choice. Why? Tell me why. I don't understand why that is a problem. Because they are holding the blacks down. Okay? And I don't understand why nobody's standing up to that when the people could get free from this. Okay? Though some blue purple state areas have limited programs as well or are opting into federal tax credit options. People, we need to start figuring something out, especially in the lower income states or opportunity or communities. States not buying into the program are the ones where you see the people protesting for reparations or wanting to free money because they are not willing or able to work for it. They don't want to work for it. They want the handouts. They want the money. They want the gimme, 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 gimme. We need to help get the means. School choice is one avenue. Here's another thing that's a problem too. A family structure, the strongest predictor on what's going on or the problem. One of the biggest factors today is family stability. Children raised in two-parent homes have dramatically lowered poverty rates, better school performance, and higher adult earnings. And this holds across all races. So it's the same across all races. If you're in a two-parent income or two-parent family, then you have a better chance. Blacks are currently far more likely to grow up in a single parent household, around 65 to 70% born to unmarried mothers. This is a sad deal. We need to figure out how we can help these people out, how we can help single mothers out across the board, whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, whomever, to help get them on board, to get them on track. Single mother households have poverty rates around 40 to 45% compared to under 10% for married two-parent homes. What a deal. How sad is that? If you can't figure this part out, we're really hurting. We are really in bad shape. So the question is, or the question that really needs to be asked is why? Why is this happening? I tried finding out information or answers to this, and there's no straight answer to it. I cannot find the right answer to this question of why. Why are there more single mothers in blacks than any of the other races? Why? We need to figure it out and help. This is a cry for help so that we can make sure that we help everybody be successful. Policies that strengthen families matter. Removing welfare penalties for marriage, promoting responsible fatherhood, cultural messaging around delaying parenthood until marriage. Think about those. These changes have driven major gains in the past and could do so again without pitting races against each other. This is our biggest problem. This is why you're seeing the different fights and the races that are butting heads against each other. This is a sad area that we're in right now. This is just, it's unbelievable. Education and communication still seem to be a valuable choice. We need to be able to educate everybody across the board, and we need to sit down at the table and communicate with each other. Criminal justice and economic opportunity. Safe communities are essential. High crime rates in some neighborhoods devastate black families and businesses. I don't know if the police or law enforcement are afraid to go into uh, black communities or family homes or something to that effect, but we need to figure out how we can fix this and help them out. I know there are cities such as Chicago and different places like that. We need to figure out how we can fix that. They're fighting tooth and nail not to let ICE go in there, but we need to figure out how we can help them out. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of backlash on this YouTube, but I'm sorry. This just upsets me to no end. Smart criminal justice reform is something we need. Focusing on reducing vandalism, supporting reentry, and targeting violent crime improves outcome. We need to fix this problem. Violent crime. You can see that in some of our, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it, and I know I'm going to catch backlash on that. But in the red state or in the blue states, you see it all the time. In Minnesota, you see it in Chicago, you see it in New York, you see it in California. It's terrible. What can we do to fix it? Nobody is willing to fix this problem because the Democrats are pointing, it's not our fault, it's their fault, it's somebody else's fault. Well, then come to the table and let's talk about it. That's all I'm asking. Get to the table and talk. Quit pointing the finger and quit yelling. Get to the table and talk about it. We need to change our mindset across the spectrum. I see too many times on X people slamming blacks because of the way they are acting. But is it their fault, or is it the culture, or is it the situation that they are currently in? We need to help. We need to put programs in place to help out communities. We can't just sit there and not do anything. We have to stand up and do something. But all that I'm seeing on both sides of the aisle is people pointing fingers and not helping out. I am thinking that this thing had to do with the lack of education and the culture. And maybe it does. I am thinking most of it has to do with the education. Because once we educate people, then the rest of it will change. Economically, broad growth policies work best. Pro growth regulations and taxes that create jobs. Expanding trade skills and vocational training. Oh, are these some awesome ideas or what? Removing occupational licensing barriers that hurt small businesses. Wow, check that out. And I'm sorry, but I'm definitely against socialism because what it's going to do is it's going to hurt small businesses and it's going to hurt those businesses because they're ending up having to give a lot of their wealth back to the state, back to the socialists. You got to think about it, people. Think about where you want that money to go. You earn it, it goes into your pocket. It should not go to the state. It should not go to anybody else but to your pocket. It can go to your community. That's where it should go, not to the state. Black entrepreneurship and employment hit records high in strong pre-2020 economies. A rising tide really does lift all boats. Think about that, people. Black homeownership and middle class numbers grew dramatically from the 1940s through 2000. The opportunity for non-transfers. Now think about that, okay? And oh, I'm gonna catch hell for this. Think what happened after the 2000s. What happened in with our elections in 2000? We ended up with BLM, Black Lives Matter, and then we also hit Antifa. That destroyed things. Those were that destroyed the black community, in my opinion. And again, this is my opinion. It's nobody else's opinion. This is what destroyed things, and I know I'm going to catch hell for that. But listen, people, and then look from that time to now. What happened? We are in a crisis, people. You need to think about it. The principle of colorblind opportunity. The best path forward is judging people on as individuals. Equal rules, equal opportunities, not not equal outcomes by race. This alienates with the civil rights, or I'm sorry, this aligns with the civil rights version and the Constitution. It avoids resentment and builds real unity. People, if we don't do this, you're going to never get everybody back to the table and never get everybody on the same sheet of music. We have grown more apart, the races, especially whites and blacks, since 2004. It has just dramatically just separated. It's like the Red Sea, just parting waves. It just separated. It's like Noah or Moses standing and parting the Red Sea. People, it is unreal how bad there's separation between those two races, the whites and the blacks. It is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Martin Luther King is probably rolling over in his grave. People, we need to fix this problem. So in closing, reparations might feel like a quick justice, but evidence-based reforms in education, family safety, and economic delivers lasting results for everyone. Reparations is basically another way to tear this country apart, divide us even more than we already are, that we've already been torn apart. I'm at the point to ask this question. Before all these reparation conversations began, how did you feel about your friends of the opposite race? Think about that. Before reparation arguments started, how did you feel about your friends of the opposite race? Are you still real buddy-buddy with that person or not? Think about it. What do you think are the best ways to close the remaining gaps? Share your idea respectfully in the comments below. This is day 4. Tomorrow on day 5, we'll look at the grievance industry and who actually benefits from constant reparations talk. If this series is helping you think through the issues, like, subscribe, and share with friends and family. Thank you for watching Spin Cycle America. See you tomorrow. You all have an outstanding day.